Every now and then, someone comes across something they were never meant to see, a doorway left open, a voice that shouldn't know their name, or a shadow that moves with a purpose. The people in these stories tried to ignore what they felt creeping around them. But whatever found them wasn't interested in being ignored. Welcome to Scary Nights by Malik. Tonight I'm sharing 3 encounters that were never connected. Until now. 3 stories from different places, different lives. But each one leaves behind the same cold feeling. Settle in, turn the lights low, and listen closely. Because these stories don't just scare, they stay with you. I still remember the sound that night. Metal twisting, tires screaming, then silence. That's how my brother Daniel died. The road took his life, but something came back instead. It's been 3 months since the accident, and every night since I hear his car. The same old Chevy, the same low rumble. It drives up the empty street and stops outside my window, but when I look, there's nothing there. Before that night, Daniel and I were close. He was older, fearless, always speeding, always laughing. He used to say, "Life's short, kid. Roads don't scare me." That road did. It was called Miller's Curve. Everyone in town said it was cursed. Sharp bend, no guardrail, too many crosses on the side. But Daniel didn't care. He loved that road. And one rainy night in July, it finally caught him. They found his car twisted around a tree. Driver's door crushed. They said he died instantly. After the funeral, I couldn't sleep. His room was right next to mine, and sometimes I'd still hear his music. That same heavy rock he played too loud. At first, I thought it was my imagination. Grief. Until the music started playing from his Bluetooth speaker, the one I'd unplugged and packed away. It happened at 2:14 a.m., the exact time of his crash. I told my mom. She just said softly, "Sweetheart, that's just the house settling." But I knew the sound of Daniel's playlist, and I knew the faint smell of motor oil that filled the hallway after. The same smell that clung to his hands every day. That's not a house settling. A few nights later, I woke to headlights flashing through my window. White, then red. Over and over, like a car braking. I looked outside. No car. Just the empty street glistening under rain. Then my phone buzzed. Unknown number. One message. "Come for a ride." My chest went cold. It was the same line Daniel always said whenever he wanted to take me driving. I called the number. No answer. Just faint static. And something else. The sound of wind rushing by, like someone driving fast with the windows down. I hung up. Couldn't breathe. The next morning, I tried to convince myself it was a prank. I even went to his crash site after school. The tree was still there. Bark stripped, scarred black from the impact. People had left flowers and photos. I placed my hand on the trunk and whispered, "Hey, Danny. I miss you, man." The wind picked up. Soft at first, then a whisper cut through it. "Miss you too." I spun around. No one there. That night, I slept with my lamp on. But around 3 a.m., my light flickered. Once, twice, then died. A low rumble filled the room, like an engine idling. I froze. Through the blinds, I saw headlights again. Closer this time. They stopped right outside. I grabbed my phone, hands shaking. Another message. "You promised me a drive." I whispered, "Daniel, please stop." A voice came through my speaker, his voice. "Come on, kid." Just one last ride, I backed away, heart racing. The air turned thick with exhaust. I could taste the gasoline. Then the sound of tires screeching. Right outside my window, a car door slammed. Someone whispered my name. right by my ear. "Eli?" I turned slowly. Daniel stood there, or something that looked like him. His face was pale, water dripping from his hair, eyes darker than night. He smiled the way he used to, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Missed you, man," he said. His voice, wet, gurgling, like it came from somewhere deep in the ground. I stammered, You're gone." He shook his head. "Not yet. The road let me go, but only if I take someone back." I stepped back. My room felt smaller, colder. "Take someone back?" I whispered. He tilted his head. "It wants balance." He smiled wider. "You said you'd always have my back, remember?" I wanted to scream, but my throat locked. Daniel reached out his hand. It looked wrong. Skin gray, nails cracked, oil and dirt dripping onto my floor. "Come with me," he said softly. "Just one drive." I bolted, ran downstairs, out the front door. Rain poured hard, soaking my clothes. At the end of the driveway, a car idled. Daniel's Chevy. Crashed, broken, windshield shattered, but running. I could see the passenger door open slowly, waiting. The headlights flickered like eyes, and I swear, through the noise of the rain, I heard him whisper again. "It's your turn." I ran. Didn't stop until I reached the neighbor's porch. When I turned around, the Chevy was gone, just tire tracks, leading straight into the woods. Then they stopped halfway, like the car vanished. The next morning, my mom asked why my window was open. I said nothing. Then she said something that made my blood run cold. "Funny thing, I thought I saw Daniel's car parked outside your room last night." I looked at her, terrified. "It's impossible." She smiled sadly. "I know. But I heard it. The engine. It's been 2 weeks since then. The texts haven't stopped. Every night at 2:14 a.m., a new message. The road's waiting. Don't make me come inside. One last drive." Last night my phone buzzed again, but this time it wasn't a message. It was a photo. Me, asleep in bed, car headlights glowing through the window. Tell us in the comments, what would you do if the road that took someone you loved brought them back for you next? They say the scariest deliveries aren't the ones that never arrive, but the ones that take you somewhere you were never meant to be. My name's Chris, and I want to share a story from when I was 17. At the time, I had a summer job delivering pizzas. Nothing special, just one of those jobs you take because you need money. I almost forgot about this night until a friend reminded me recently, and honestly, it still creeps me out when I think about it. Back then, I worked at this pizza place on the edge of town. The pizza was terrible, but hardly anyone ordered, so most nights were quiet. My manager, Russell, usually sat in the back scrolling his phone, while I folded boxes or stocked drinks. One night, an online order came in. Large sausage and olive pizza. I remember because no one ever asked for olives. The address was far, way past our usual delivery zone. I was ready to decline it, but Russell told me to take it since it had been over an hour without a run. I grabbed the pizza, checked the instructions, and that's when I noticed something strange. The order said, "Park on the street behind the house. Walk through the backyard. Knock on the back door only. Weird, right?" At 17, I didn't think too much about it. Maybe someone didn't want to wake up a baby or an elderly parent. Maybe they were hiding food from a roommate. Whatever the reason, I didn't question it. The drive took about 25 minutes. The roads got emptier the farther I went. No streetlights, just patches of farmland and trees. By the time I reached the house, everything was dark. No cars, no porch light, just an old fence and overgrown grass. Still, I followed the instructions. Parked on the gravel, walked up the hill to the back door, and knocked. No answer. Knocked again. Still nothing. I was about to leave when I noticed the curtain over the back door window twitch. Just a tiny movement, like someone brushed against it. My stomach tightened. Someone was inside. So why weren't they answering? That's when headlights appeared behind my car. 2 unmarked vehicles pulled up. A man stepped out and flashed a badge. He was an undercover cop. He told me to go back to my car and wait. From there, I watched as more officers appeared. 5, maybe 6. They surrounded the house, flashlights moving, but they didn't knock or announce themselves. They checked the back door I had just knocked on, then pulled back like they were being careful not to make noise. After a while, the same officer came back to me. He looked at the pizza, sighed, and said the property was under investigation. He didn't say much else, just that I had arrived at the exact wrong time, right when they were repositioning their vehicles. He told me to leave, no questions asked. On the drive back, I couldn't stop thinking about it. The road was pitch black, and my headlights cut through the empty fields like a spotlight. Every shadow looked like it was moving. Every turn in the road made me glance in the rearview mirror, half expecting one of those unmarked cars to be following me. When I finally pulled into my driveway, I just sat there in silence. The pizza box was still on the seat beside me, the smell filling the car. Normally, that smell meant comfort, late-night snacks, easy money. But that night, it made me feel sick. I didn't even bring it inside. I left it in the trash can outside, like I wanted no reminder of where I had been. The next day at work, I asked Russell about it. I told him what happened, how cops showed up, how they told me to leave. He didn't even look surprised, just shrugged and said, "Yeah, sometimes that happens out there. Don't worry about it." That was it. No explanation, no concern, nothing. The way he brushed it off made me feel like he already knew something I didn't, and didn't want me digging deeper. For weeks afterward, I couldn't shake the feeling. I'd lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying the moment when the curtain twitched. I kept asking myself, if the cops hadn't shown up, what would have happened if that door opened? Was someone waiting for me? I even checked the news and local papers, hoping to find something about a raid or an arrest or anything. But there was nothing. No record, no story. Like it had never happened. That was almost worse. It made me feel like I had stumbled into something secret. Something I wasn't supposed to see. And here's the part that really gets me. I never saw another order with olives after that. Not once. Sometimes I wonder if the olives were some kind of signal. Something meant for someone else. Not me. A code I wasn't supposed to deliver. Months later, I finally got the nerve to ask around. Not directly, but carefully. I asked an older delivery driver, someone who had worked there longer. I asked him if he had ever delivered out to that side of town. He got quiet, then said, "Don't take jobs out past the fields. Trust me, nothing good happens there." When I pushed, he told me something I'll never forget. Years before, another driver had gone missing on a delivery. A young woman, just 19, vanished while taking a pizza out to the same area. Her car was later found parked by the road, engine running, pizza still inside. She was never found. The case went cold, but drivers who had been around long enough still remembered. Some of them even claimed the weird orders, with odd instructions like back doors, side gates, or no lights, had been happening for years. Always rare, always unsettling, but never explained. That's when it hit me. Maybe I hadn't been unlucky. Maybe I had stumbled into a pattern. One night, maybe a month after all this, I was closing alone again. A man came in just before we locked up. He wasn't there for food. He leaned on the counter and asked me if I was the one who had delivered to the farmhouse out past the fields. I froze. I hadn't told anyone outside of Russell and the cops. I asked him who he was, and he smiled but didn't answer. Instead, he said, "You were lucky that night. Not many people come back from that door." Then he walked out. I rushed to the window, but he was gone. No car, no footsteps, nothing. Just vanished into the night. Looking back, I realize how lucky I was that night. At 17, I just thought of it as a strange delivery story. Now I see it could have ended much worse. And to this day, I avoid backdoor instructions on pizza deliveries. But tell me this, if it were you standing at that dark back door, would you have knocked or walked away? And if you've ever had a delivery, a late-night job, or just a strange encounter that didn't sit right, share it in the comments. Because sometimes the scariest stories aren't the ones in books or movies. They're the ones that happen on an ordinary night, when you least expect it. They say grief plays tricks on your mind. That sometimes you want to see the person you lost so badly, you start believing they never left. But what if they really didn't? My name is Evan, and my best friend Tyler died 1 month ago. Car crash, late at night. They said he lost control on the old mountain road. No one could have survived that wreck. I went to his funeral. I saw the closed coffin. I knew he was gone. But 5 days after, he sent me a message. Just one word. "Hey." At first I laughed. Some kind of sick joke, right? Maybe someone hacked his account. I typed back, "Who is this?" No reply. A few minutes later, I saw the typing dots appear, then disappear, then appear again, like he couldn't decide what to say. Finally, another message came through. "Miss hanging out, man." I froze. Tyler used to say that all the time. I stared at the screen until my eyes burned. Then I called his number. No answer. Just static. And under it, faint breathing. I hung up. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning I tried to brush it off. Maybe his mom was going through his phone, trying to feel close to him. It made sense. Until I got another message. This time, a photo. It was me, standing in my kitchen, taken from outside my window. The timestamp said 2:17 a.m. I ran outside, heart pounding. Nothing but fog and the sound of crickets. No footprints. No car. Just silence. I didn't tell anyone. Who would believe me? "Hey, my dead best friend just texted me a picture of myself in the middle of the night." Yeah. Right. A few nights later, it happened again. My phone buzzed at 3:03 a.m. "Tyler, can I come in?" I stared at the screen, shaking. Then another message. "I'm cold." I looked toward my window, and there it was. A handprint on the glass, faint, fogged, pressed from the outside. I whispered, "Tyler?" The air in my room turned icy. The lights flickered, and I heard it. That laugh. His laugh. Soft, familiar, and horribly wrong. I backed into the corner of my room, clutching my phone like a weapon. Then it stopped. Silence. The next morning I told myself I imagined it. Grief. Lack of sleep. I even deleted the messages, trying to convince myself it didn't happen. But that night my mom knocked on my door. "Evan," she said quietly, "did you invite someone over last night?" My stomach dropped. "No. Why?" She frowned. "I heard voices in your room. One sounded like Tyler." I felt my throat tighten. "Mom, Tyler's dead." She looked pale. "I know, sweetheart." That's why I'm scared I tried to stay awake the next few nights. But exhaustion always won. Then last week, something new happened. When I woke up, I saw dirt under my window, like someone had stood there. And in the middle of it, a single muddy footprint. Bare. Human. I called Tyler's mom that afternoon. I didn't tell her everything, just said I missed him. She sounded tired, her voice hollow. She said, "Evan, this might sound strange, but Tyler's grave was disturbed last night." My blood turned to ice. Disturbed? How? She hesitated. The caretaker said, "The coffin lid was open. That night I couldn't stay home. I drove to the cemetery. I don't even know why. Maybe I needed proof. Maybe I needed to see for myself." The fog was thick. The air was heavy. When I reached his grave, I saw it. Freshly dug soil, messy, uneven. And in the center, a hand sticking out of the dirt. I stumbled back, shaking. But then my phone buzzed again. A new message. From him. "Turn around." I froze. Every nerve in my body screamed not to, but I did. And standing just beyond the trees was Tyler. Same hoodie, same crooked smile, but his skin was gray, wet, and sunken. His eyes, empty. He tilted his head. "You left me there, man." I couldn't breathe. He took a slow step forward. The ground crunched under his bare feet. "Don't you miss me?" I whispered. "You're not real." He smiled wider. "Then how am I here?" The phone buzzed again. Another message popped up, this time with a video. It showed me, standing at Tyler's grave, right now, from behind. And as I watched, in the video, a gray hand reached up from the dirt and grabbed my ankle. Before I could react, something cold wrapped around my leg. I screamed, fell backward. Everything went black. When I woke up, I was home, in my bed. The window was open, and on my desk, my phone. One new message, from Tyler. "Thanks for switching places." I don't remember much after that, but the news said something about a grave found empty at Maplewood Cemetery, and a body inside that wasn't supposed to be there. They say it looked like it had only just died. Tell us in the comments. What would you do if your best friend came back a month after his funeral?